Hi ladies, so if you click this video, then that means you're probably trying to figure out where to start on your feminine energy journey. And I have a really easy beginner guide just for you. If you find yourself anxious, stressed, in survival mode, then this is the perfect video for you. So it's an easy step-by-step. Let's get into it. So a lot of us women aren't conscious that we are stuck in a state of survival mode. If you think about it, our brain is constantly thinking about the next thing to do, the next thing to check off in a day, in your week, in a month. Especially as women in survival mode, we're always putting others before ourselves, and we're always doing that. We're always in our head, we're always giving. Only a third of our day is kind of to take care of us, which is sleeping, and that's if you're getting 8 hours. The very first step I have for you is to remove all the negativity from your phone. We spend already way too much time on our phone, so that's the first place that you're gonna want to go to ensure that you're not consuming all this negative content, all this negative media. Because what that negative energy does, it's gonna drain you of your energy, especially when you wake up right in the morning and you're doom scrolling for 2 hours. You're gonna feel already drained from just being on your phone instead of when you would have just gotten up and not touched it at all. Start with unfollowing all the negative kinds of content that you already follow, or negative people, or if you're constantly comparing yourself to a celebrity or another person, you just have to hit them with the unfollow. As you're scrolling, you look at who it is and you lead with your body. If you see that person's profile, don't even click it. If you see that person in your following and you get this feeling in your gut or in your body that makes you uneasy, where you're questioning it, that means you need to unfollow that person, because something about them makes you feel a certain type of way. Or for me, when I would watch people's stories, if I find myself getting anxious or feeling slightly annoyed or feeling nervous about what someone was gonna put on their social media, I knew it was a time to let them go. It's not just about who you follow, it's also the music you listen to, the TV shows, movies, the podcasts. If you're the type of person where all you're doing is listening to true crime documentaries or podcasts or YouTube videos, whatever it may be, this is your sign to slowly let that go. And I know it's hard because I used to love true crime too, and I used to find it really interesting and fascinating. I would watch a lot of Criminal Minds, but then I would watch Criminal Minds, let's say, all through the day. Then at night when I would go to sleep, I would just have literal nightmares. Like nightmares, uneasy dreams, dreams that didn't make sense. I would wake up feeling uncomfortable because what you're doing is consuming low frequency entertainment. The same also goes for music. You need to be careful what kind of music you're ingesting and what you're singing out loud. Like if you're singing City Girls, like I did when I was in college, I used to sing City Girls, Megan Thee Stallion, I would like Billie Eilish, things like that. Those are also sometimes low frequency. Billie Eilish makes sadder music, some that sound like grieving or mourning. If I'm getting ready to that in the morning before like a class or before I have to go to work, that's what you're gonna radiate at. That's what your frequency is gonna be, and it's not gonna be in high spirits. If you're consuming content that spreads a certain message or makes you feel either shame, anger, or is all about the ego, that is like the bottom of the totem pole right there. Like there's a frequency chart. Any feeling where it comes from anger, shame, or the ego, you're at the bottom wavelength of frequency. It's so important for you to get to the top. The top is total enlightenment, it's peace, it's joy, it's love. And those are the types of things that you need to ingest. And that's the very beginning. Step one, get rid of all the negativity, because getting rid of the negativity is gonna make the next steps that much easier, because your mind is no longer gonna be on the negative, and now you're gonna be able to focus on yourself, which is step two. Step two is self-care. And I know we all say this, we all say, oh, you have to, go, do a hair care routine, do a skin routine, go to the spa, things like that. But self-care can be so much more than that. Now it's really important, you have to bring yourself to the top of this checklist and make sure that you are getting step two, your self-care. The more that you tend to yourself, the better you feel, the better you look, the better your day is gonna be, the better your life is gonna be. And you're gonna radiate that onto other people, and you're gonna attract people like that. Just try and get up and do your makeup every day. Just get up, put on a face, because that is going to increase your productivity. If you notice that you get up and you take out the 20, 30, 45 minutes out of your day to put your face on, you're gonna want to also be productive in that day. Knowing that you got up today and you put on makeup, it fills you with more of a purpose to go out and succeed and do the things you want to do. It can also be really micro things, like maybe you get yourself a sweet little treat every day. When you're driving home from work, stop at the gas station and get yourself a little treat. It could also be getting the discipline to stop scrolling an hour before you go to bed and read instead. There's so many ways to do self-care. You have to take care of yourself and give yourself that princess treatment, because if you don't, no one else around you is going to. You're going to radiate that frequency that this is what you give yourself and what you expect of other people, and that means other people are going to give it to you. I'm going to move on to step 3 is you ladies need to get a hobby. And I mean this in the nicest possible way, but you ladies need something to do. And the reason I say this is because most people will stop after step 2. And this is the reason why. Once you get rid of all the negativity and you're taking care of yourself, a lot of the times people feel like, oh, I'm growing, I'm a better person now. And once they kind of hit that high, they start to fall because they feel like that they're achieving all these things and then they're bored. And a lot of the times ladies fill that up with a man to distract them. And this is why step 3 is so important. A hobby is something that is going to give you a task to do. It's gonna challenge you. It's gonna kind of bring out something in you that you probably didn't have before. Don't think just because you got rid of the negative people in your life and you actually can give yourself princess treatment that now is the time to go and find a man. Because that's not true. There's way much more that women and our energy can give out towards more than just people. You're still not done giving it towards yourself and enhancing and valuing and leveling up yourself. I found that my personal hobby is meditating and doing a small workout in the morning. I never used to do either of those things. I was not the athletic kid in high school, I'll just put it like that. It was something that kind of motivated me to get out of bed because it's something new that I want to try. When I meditate, I'm kind of like, okay, what am I going to see today? What kind of feelings are going to pop up for me? What is the universe going to whisper to me today? Working out, feeling my heart race, the pump of energy that I get, the sweat, and then taking a shower right after. That just kind of energizes me for the rest of the day and it makes me motivated to get things done. There are so many hobbies that you ladies can pick up. I mean, you can Google search, YouTube. TikTok is basically its own search engine at this point. You can create your own content. You can start a jewelry making business. You can learn how to bake bread. There's so many things you can put your feminine energy into that isn't into someone else, into a man. So now that you've got your hobby, figure out your hobby, take some time, really think on it. What do you want to do? And then we're going to get to step 4. And step 4 is probably going to be the hardest part, but it's the most crucial. And the reason that it's the 4th step is because the other 3 are really great at leading up to it, because the other 3 show you a lot of discipline when you start doing them. So step 4 is going to be doing inner work. And this is the most important part of unleashing and unlocking your feminine energy. Without inner work, you are not going to be able to be in your divine feminine. By doing inner work, which is kind of like soul level healing, that's the only way you will possibly be able to keep leveling up your life, because you're not only leveling up what's around you outwardly, you're leveling up inward, your mind, your body, your soul, your emotions. Starting off with inner work, you can always start by journaling. You journal dreams you had. You can journal about how your day went. I sometimes journal about if I have something that's making me really anxious or something that's on my mind. I'll usually write it out, and it's good to look back at those things. And you can also do shadow work. So I've seen a lot of shadow work prompts online, or going just to Google Images and finding a whole bunch of them. Shadow work is basically a way for you to find the root of your core beliefs and your values. Usually shadow work, it'll ask you kind of an in-depth question, and then you kind of keep going into your previous answer, and it'll ask you more and more questions so you can finally understand why you have self-doubt. Why are you anxious? Why do you believe you can't love again? What I mentioned, like what I do, meditation is another great way to practice inner work, because you're clearing your mind that's always going. This is your conscious mind. Every thought that you have throughout the day is your conscious. What meditation does is it turns this off, and like true feminine energy, you go deep into your body and your subconscious releases. Your subconscious is all your traumas, your triggers, your past wounds, things like that. It's also your inner child. And there's so many different meditation practices on YouTube. There's ones for healing. When I have a headache, I'll listen to meditation to cure a headache. I've even done like a hypnotherapy session meditation on YouTube. You could easily walk into Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, go to the self-help section. I've bought tons of books on self-help, and that really, like, reading one self-help book is really what catapulted me into doing self-help. So if I had to recommend any of them, I would say reading a self-help book, because you already have the discipline with getting a new hobby, and reading could be your hobby. And lastly, therapy or coaching. Both of those are really great help. I feel like it definitely speeds up the process. Just doing therapy for a few weeks and talking to someone for like 45 minutes really helps you kind of get into your own head and really understand your root and core beliefs, the root of your trauma and things like that. Coaching is another one that's really great. So now we're on step number 5. We're on the very last step. I feel like it's a step a lot of people will forget about and won't actually want to practice. Step 5, you need to practice gratitude. A lot of the time we get really caught up in our day-to-day lives, like what we don't have, what are we always striving for, what's our next goal, instead of being, again, in your feminine energy, being in the moment, in the present, in your body, and acknowledging everything around you that has come into fruition that you once wished for. I practice gratitude right before I go to bed. I usually pray to God or the universe, whatever you feel like is out there. Usually you could do it out loud, or it's also good to write it in the morning or at night, whenever you feel like writing it down, speaking it, writing it, even just really thinking it. You just have to practice it once a day, because I promise you, when I do it, especially before I go to bed, I fall asleep way faster than I ever have before. And it's just going to enhance your mood. If you do it in the morning, you're going to be grateful for all the things that you do have as you go about your day. And at night, when you wind down, you're going to think about, wow, I have this today, or I was able to have the opportunity to buy this or get this, and it's gonna boost your mood even better, and you're gonna sleep a lot deeper too. And remember, feminine energy is all about attraction, and the only way to attract more abundance into your life is to continuously be grateful for what you have been given. Because if you keep asking universe or God for more and more and more, they're gonna be like, I already gave you what you asked for before. Is that not enough? And if you're not showing gratitude, then the blessings are just gonna stop. Yes, feminine energy is about receiving, but it's also unhealthy to only be in one energy. We also have to be giving God or the universe or Allah, whichever you believe in, constantly giving them grace and thanking them for what you have received or for what you have. They'll see that you notice all the blessings that you've been granted, and they're going to continue to give you more. Just by implementing these 5 steps, your entire life is going to go so much easier, and you're going to notice a huge shift in it. Feminine energy is all about becoming your highest, most conscious self, so you can continuously upgrade your own life. Consistently give yourself the opportunity to always nourish your soul, your mind, and your body. The most important part is you start to view people from your past not as mistakes but as lessons. For years, I used to have the worst anxiety, and I would catch myself crying over men, over my job, over just the unknown. Me being scared, having that fear, actually transforms into being in a state of lack and feeling like you don't have enough, feeling that you aren't enough. And that leads you to wondering, why don't I have certain things, or why can't I achieve certain goals or achieve certain things that I see for my future. I would suffer a lot from codependency because I needed that validation from other men that I was lovable and that I was enough. And also that they also saw me as of importance. But in reality, when we do those things, seek validation, constant reassurance, it's just our way of projecting our own insecurities onto other people because we don't feel that validation inside of us. I finally went through heartbreak after heartbreak again and again. It finally clicked within me that the reason I was going through these things wasn't the fault of other people, but it's because I wasn't setting the standards and the boundaries that I deserved to fulfill my own needs. I was the one settling for men that didn't provide any value, for friendships that didn't provide any value toward me, and then it made me more insecure than I already was. Once I really created my boundaries and my standards for other people, for relationships, and for myself, that's when unleashing my feminine energy just became that much easier. I was finally putting myself and my own needs first instead of the validation of other people or constantly people pleasing and putting others before me. So I really genuinely hope this helped you ladies out a lot. This is just a beginner guide. There's so much more to feminine energy that we need to discuss, but this is just a basic how-to guide of really simple steps that you can implement with some ideas. And I really can't wait to create a community of sisterhood, of setting our standards and our boundaries, constantly leveling up and manifesting and attracting in our feminine energy and getting all of our desires and things that we know we deserve. I hope you ladies enjoyed this video, and I'll be back next week for another one, and I'll see you soon.